Narcissus Studio Scale. It's about 29 inches long, 18 and 27, yeah, about 29 inches long. Really nice, eh? Beautiful kit. This is a copy of one made by Mark Ingplan. I copied it in order to learn the procedure and get rid of any possible problems before I got to the one I was making for another fella, and that's because I hate doing things straight off the bat first time, so I'll have a practice, and this is my practice version ready for the real thing. And the real thing incorporates all these original Greebly parts. There's a few on here. Most of these are actually casts from ones I took from the 3D printed versions that came with the kit. So that's the top details on the Narcissus, looking pretty cool, and the bottom is equally as mental, if not more. So in a second I'll flip it over and show you the bottom. So here's the bottom side of the Narcissus model, Studio Scale. Got all the Greeblies in there. I could name them, but it's going to be really boring if I do. Yeah, it's got all the right idents on it, the dams on there, various different bits, all the parts from the Tyrrells and Centurions and all the rest of it. Everything has been applied here. There are a ton of detailed decals on this. I don't know if you can see, there's one here. Loads all over the place. Most of the weathering is done in graphite with a very fine brush. It's difficult to make it messy actually, like to match the original. You get the idea. All the detail in the middle. There's a couple missing because this one's a tester, like I said earlier. They'll be added later when I get time. So just checking out the paint job, getting everything in the correct place, making sure everything fits. How to attack it. Some of these are graphite, these little square marks are graphite, and these are obviously decals, the ones with all the writing. And then you've got other areas that are pen, such as these lines here and the little squares on the front of this panel here. Yeah, it's pretty detailed, just as the original. Tyrrell shrouds from the six-wheeler, all sorts of stuff, tons of 8-rad parts, American NPCs, and all sorts of stuff. What a fantastic thing. So this is the test, and it's got all the right foibles in it. This side is not the same size as this side. You'll notice the thickness of these detail pieces varies across the whole surface from side to side. Nothing is the same. This nose I think is 1 mil, 1.5 mil longer than this nose, or the other way around. I think this one's longer by 1.5 mil, as the original was. So the guy who made this, Mark Ingplan, has done a fantastic job getting everything wrong in exactly the right way. So here's the next version. So here's the one, the all singing all dancing version, made from 3mm machine perspex. Absolutely fantastic. The majority of the details on this are all taken from the original model kits, and there's a ton of them on this thing. So we've got SAM 2, all this off the top of my head, 8-rads, space shuttle, refueling kit, airfix refueling kit, Vospers, all sorts of different model kits on this. Really tricky to get hold of, and absolutely glorious in detail because everything is super crisp and sharp. You get the correct relief on the pieces. You've got all the very, very tiny details on the pieces, such as the back of this 8-rad part. It's got a tiny T-piece on it. It's just fantastic. So this is where we're up to so far with this. We've got everything on pretty much. Engine's in position now. Each one of these lights up. Inside is a full internal based on the film set, which I'll show you later when we get that fired up. Just got the engine cowlings to fit and a couple of Greeblies on either side, but all this festooning of original model kits is all now done. We are 99.999% of the way there, and it looks fabulous. If you're picking up any kind of sheen from around these edges, that's because they're all sealed with super thin CA glue to keep all the edges down for the paint job, so nothing migrates underneath and you can weather it properly without catching different things. So every panel on it is sealed, and every panel on it is in the correct orientation. Not quite square where it shouldn't be, or where it should be. Exactly like the original, different thickness again, as on the prototype. one side to the other, you can see one of these white lines is thinner on this side than this side. That's exactly as it was on the original. All the offsets, all the misaligned panels, everything is absolutely accurate. So, ready for paint nearly. It's a cracking looking thing. I'll flip it over and show you the bottom as well. So, here we have the lower side. All the various kit parts in place. Won't bother listing them again, but if you know what they are, you know what they are. And it's looking really good now. Wires just getting ready for all their fixtures and fittings for the stand, which is going to be a build in its own right, to be honest with you. All these parts are actually from the real model kits, like I said on top, boring the hell out of you, blah blah blah. Looking really nice. I just love the scale of this thing. It is absolutely massive. What a stunner. So, we've got all the greeblies on the surfaces. Everything pretty much there. Couple of things to do yet, just to put the engine cowls on the end. We've got all the engines wired up and working. Inside is a full interior based on the film set, which I'll show you shortly. Yeah, it's looking really, really nice. This is going to be one epic paint job on this, which I will cover, so you'll be able to see me make a mess of it if I do. And there you go, everything's looking mighty cool. Some of the internals will hopefully show up here. Okay, and in the cockpit we've got a couple of screens with a bit of graphic on, a few more flashing lights. They look way brighter in here than they are in real life. You get the idea. The cockpit is pretty much full of detail. All the various bits in there. Got the sleep pods, all the weird coils on the wall. The rear walls blinking either side of the airlock, and all the little bitties. And on the rear we've got 9 lit engines in each one, and then obviously inside the airlock we've still got all the various different internal bits lit up. And on the front we've got the infamous weird coloured front lights, which kind of go a strange purpley orange in the movie. There's a little bit of work left to do on these engines, as you can see. They're not quite finished on the front edge. And all fully festooned and ready to rock and roll. Ready for the paint job. Hope you like it. More to come very soon. I'll give you a bit of a step-by-step through various parts of the build. So there we go, Studio Scale Narcissus. Hope you like it.